Hi friends, I'm here to share with you a recipe for a Cambodian marinade for beef brisket. So yummy, so delicious. Our our auntie will be teaching us, and she will give you all the tips and tricks to make it the juiciest, most tender, most tasty brisket you will ever taste. First, she starts off by cutting the brisket into smaller chunks. You can usually find the brisket in larger packages, so it's helpful to cut them into smaller pieces. She also mentioned that you can cut them into bigger pieces if you prefer. For this demonstration, she used 15 pounds of brisket. Make sure to cut the brisket with the grain and trim off the fat if there are big chunks. But do leave the softer fat for extra juiciness and flavor. Here you can see the brisket slabs. They're cut into about 1 to 2 inches of thickness. Up next, we're going to tenderize the brisket by using a meat mallet. She uses this to pound the brisket, which causes it to be super tender and juicy. You can definitely see this is a labor of love. Here she is pounding it over and over, and this really does help it to be so tender. If you don't have a mallet, be creative and use anything you can to pound it. The back of the big butcher knives would work too. Now moving on to the marinade, she starts off by putting 5 peeled heads of garlic into a mortar and pestle. She also adds 20 dried chili peppers as well as 10 fresh chili peppers. Depending on your spice level, you can adjust this according to your taste. Up next, she adds 3/4 cups of whole peppercorn. You can find these at any local grocery store or Asian store. I love the ones that my mom brings back from Cambodia, so fragrant. Pounding the peppercorn in the mortar and pestle really brings out the aromatics of it. Next up, she adds 1/4 cup of fresh chopped ginger. Here you can see the size of the ginger that she chops up. Look at that, look at those beautiful ingredients. Up next is a surprise ingredient for you. It's 1/4 cup of diced fresh pineapple. This ingredient was new to me, but this is exactly why we want to ask our aunties for their secret recipes. We also know it's hard for them to give us exact measurements, so here she is putting it into a 1/4 cup for us to see, but you know how it is. They eyeball everything. Now it's time to pound the ingredients together. Once again, another labor of love. Does anybody remember their mom making them pound things like grung? Oh my gosh, I absolutely hated it. But now that I have to do it myself, I do appreciate the help. You're going to want to continue to pound it until it becomes a paste-like mixture. It will take a few minutes, but be patient and continue to pound it until you see that everything is mixed in pretty well together. We had a lot of questions about using a processor to mix the ingredients, but a lot of the aunties warned us against that. They said it tastes so much better and it's so much more aromatic if you use a mortar and pestle. Here you can see what it should look like after you're done. Up next, she adds 1/4 cup of the chicken soup powder. It's the one that you can find at the Asian store that has the green lid and the yellow label. Along with that, she adds a tablespoon of MSG. Here she takes a cup of oyster sauce, and she's actually going to add it on top of the brisket that she cut previously. She also adds a tablespoon of fish sauce to the brisket. Fish sauce and oyster sauce are definitely staples in Southeast Asian cuisine. You can now find them both in American supermarkets, which is nice. Here she now takes the mixture that we have just pounded and adds it to the brisket along with the oyster sauce and the fish sauce. And at this time, you're going to use your hands and mix it up very well. As you can see, she massages the marinade into the brisket very well, just to make sure that it is completely coated. And here we have some other aunties coming in to give her some help. And here she adds 1/2 cup of brown sugar into the mixture and again mixes it up really well. Once it's fully coated, it is now time for the grill. But before grilling, you want to marinate it for at least 10 to 15 minutes or overnight if possible. You're going to want to preheat the grill to a medium temperature and then grill on one side for 10 minutes and then turn it and grill on the other side for 5 minutes. It's best to use a charcoal grill, but if you have propane, that should be fine as well. And here you can see the results. It came out perfectly, but before slicing it, you want to let the meat rest for at least 5 minutes and then cut into it. And guys, look at how juicy and tender the meat came out. The taste was amazing and everything smelled so good. And of course, we can't eat our brisket without the trimmings and the Preheat sauce. If you want to learn how to make that, there will be another video, so make sure you go over and watch that. And I hope that you guys give it a try and that you enjoy it as much as we did. So thanks for tuning in and hope you have a great one.